Starting things off, alright, we gotta talk about the snake eyes. These frickin' Whoops. What's going on, guys? LoganJYA here, and it's time for another Banlist prediction. That's right, I don't think it's any surprise. Banlist season is the talk of the town. We got Nationals approaching, and everyone's wondering, are we going to see a list before the biggest tournament of the year? I think we may, and I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen on it. I encourage you to let me know how wrong I am in the comments down below. You know I suck at these things. I always get them wrong, and I love to hear you say it to me in the comments. Alright, first things first, we got to talk about these guys, the Snake Eyes. I've got two cards here in my sights, them being Flame Bridge and Snake Eye Ash. I think what they may end up doing, my prediction is that we're going to see Snake Eye Ash probably go to 1. Some sort of smack on the wrist type hit. We just saw this card reprinted in the OTS set. Back in the day, Astral Pack, Tournament Pack, OTS Pack reprints sometimes were hints at what was going to get hit. I'm thinking back on the Alti Tour Guide printing and then it immediately going to 1. They haven't done that as much recently. Part of me is feeling like they might pull something like that with the Snake Eye Ash. Saying that as well as that this is a pretty tame hit for the Snake Eye deck. They could pair it with something like putting Witch to 1 as well. I think that would be a pretty good way at hurting the consistency and bringing down the deck a peg without obliterating its current play strategy. I think this is what they may very well do. What I'd really like to see them do is ban Flame Bridge. This guy is Mr. Soul Charge, Mr. Removal, Mr. Best card to summon out of deck off of Asher Oak. Insane. Enables a lot of the degeneracy with the deck. And you cut this card out, you cut out a lot of the unfair aspects of the Snake Eye strategy. It's still playable. You're just not able to link climb nearly as high. You're not able to stick your IP in the back row to summon it on forward. You do lose a little bit of synergy, but man, that is the price you pay for the absolute obliteration you've been doing on the current meta. Now, I'm going to flag that this one may not come to fruition because of some other hits I'm anticipating we may see. But I do think that in the same way that they banned Block Dragon, this is how a colleague explained it to me, hitting Flame Bridge solves the problem by going for the throat and taking care of the actual issue. You check the ceiling, you check the unfair aspects of the deck, you take out Flame Bridge, mission accomplished. Alright, let's move on to another one. I think this one is non-controversial. Skill Drain is getting hit. We all already know it. We've seen the YCS feature matches. We've seen what this card can do since it's been legalized. Drain has got to go. Now, do I think it's going to go all the way down here? I'm not sure. They might pull that Saki one-of stuff that we've seen them do with a lot of these continuous trap cards over the past few ban lists. But then again, at the same time, Summon Limit is screaming in my ear right now saying, hey, they banned me. Why don't they just ban Skill Drain? Get the whole job done. Man, it's a tough call. It's a really tough call. But seeing how well this is synergized with the Snake Eye strategy, I see this one going either to banned or to 1. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's gonna be to 1 and then an eventual ban if it continues to see play in a way that is degenerate, as in every deck continues to play this. Any deck that can does. Yeah, then they're gonna eventually hit it, just like they did with Imperial Order. But for now, I'm thinking it's going to be limited, just like Anti-Spell Fragrance or Rivalry of Warlords. That is my prediction. Alright, everyone, now we got to talk about the 10 pies, those OTK dragons. They just love going after your life points. I've got this right here, their Field Spell, which actually just went to 1 in the OCG, the Sangain Summoning. Well, guess what? I actually don't think they're going to do anything to this card. I don't think they're going to do anything to this deck. I think that the deck is in a fine place. They have more support coming out in the future. I do not see Konami going after the 10 pies yet. I don't think they're going to hit him directly. I think that's a pretty safe bet. What I do think they're going to do, and I think would be wise, is take out the Saki one of Bestial that does way too much on his own, Mr. Bestial Magnum. It's time to frickin' go, buddy. See you later, chump. We don't frickin' need you. We don't want you around these parts, sir. I don't take kindly to Bestials around these parts, sir. No, sirree. I want to take those guys out. Honestly, I'd love to see this get executed. Probably can't leave that in the video, but Bestial Magnum, gotta go. He's the most degenerate out of all the Bestials. Don't let the door hit you on your way out, jackass. See ya, chump. Alright, let's move on. Let's move on. We're gonna talk about, alright, little bit of a wish list item here. but I got some logic behind it. We got Windup Carriers M80. What the hell business this card got being banned still? Even if you legalize this guy, do you think anyone's going to actually get Windup hand ripped? There are far more consistent hand rips that you can do nowadays. You could leave Hunter and bring back M80 to 1. It's not going to do jack. This is a card that's just been sitting on the list and they've completely forgot about it. Not an issue. Not a challenge at all whatsoever. Let those people who came into the game in around 2012 and wanted to play competitively have this cornerstone key piece back for what in many ways was a very similar played deck to Drytron back in the day. This is a combo-centric strategy, high ceiling, and of course I'll let the personal bias show. This is a deck that I used to play back in the day, and oh my gosh, did I love it. Alright, that's me. That's enough of me advocating for the legalization of Windup Carriers and M80. I'm going to say in the same breath, and the reason why I was going to rationalize it, I think it would be cute to bring these two back together. Two old pieces of Windup history. Why the heck not? I think these are just relics stuck on the list. They don't still need to be there. Let's bring them on back, okay? Dark World is an infinitely better hand rip strategy than Windup ever was or ever could be, even if frickin' Zenmaiden came to 3. Alright, moving on. Summon Sorc. We know it's getting the errata. We haven't seen it reprinted in the TCG yet. They might do that thing where they announce the reprint alongside the announcement that this is gonna be legalized. I think there may be something like that for this ban list, or they'll put the date that this one's gonna be legalized. So I think this is a free pick here. You know, the errata's coming. This guy's going to 1. Summon Sorc. It's not as good anymore. It's a little bit more balanced, alright? Oh, no, this frickin' guy. Everyone knows I'm not the biggest fan of Branded. I want to give a huge shout-out to my boy, Mr. Trev, you know. He is a Branded duelist. He top nationals with that deck. I hate that deck. I hate the gimmick puppet lock. I hate everything that Albion and Albaz stands for. Let's get him out of here. Let's ban this guy, alright? Listen, you all saw what happened in Europe. I felt bad for Jess getting cooked by that puppet lock, alright? You don't hear me say that often about a plant player. I felt bad. So maybe we get the Sanctifier out of here, okay? Alright, I think we can agree upon that one. Is it hypocritical of me to be calling for the banning of Sanctifier while in the very same vein I think that Chaos Max did nothing wrong? Let me know if I'm incorrect. I also want to mention here, I don't have King Calamity on here yet because Centurion isn't performing. Maybe I'm crazy? I know that the combo still exists to summon him, and it's not that hard to do, but people aren't playing it. Maybe after they check Snake Eye, that deck comes back into the forefront of the meta, but for right now, nah man, I don't think there's a need to hit it. Alright, moving on. We've got the Apollosa, just reprinted in Rarity Collection 2. We saw what happened to Barone, and we saw what happened to Boral Savage. Do we think the same thing is gonna happen to Appo? Yo, RIP anyone who invested in the Starlight. Dude, I gotta say, I think out of all of the extra deck boss monsters that might be next on the chopping block, Appo is the biggest one. I do think she might get the axe. I really do. It's been doing too much for way too long. This has been your cornerstone staple that invalidates a lot of hand traps. You want to check high ceiling combo decks. Frankly, you need not look any further than checking the Apollosa. I think this card gets banned, and I'm going to say that straight up. I'm going to move on to the next one, that being IP Masquerena. In the same thing that everyone's been saying, that it was Barone and Boral, they're thinking it's going to be Appo IP. Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't think they're going to touch IP. I don't think they're going to touch IP. Can I tell you why? I don't think they're going to touch IP until they reprint SP. They need to reprint SP. They need to get their money. And then they will ban IP. Maybe. Maybe not. I'm 50-50 on banning IP. I don't really fall in the same camp as Appo or Boral or Barone. I don't think it's as broken. It's only as broken as the things you can summon with it. So I think that IP may last a lot longer than people are saying. But at the very least, it's going to last until they reprint SP. I give them free advice, bro. I'm out here always giving Konami free advice. It's their choice if they want to take it. I gave some really good advice about the Rarity Collection 2 that they ignored. They could have reprinted the Dragon Rulers and given them all the fancy rarities. Dude, holy smokes. That would have been so sick to get like those PCRs or those PSRs, I guess is the one that I like, or QCR Dragon Rulers. Oh my god, that would be sick. But no, they didn't do it. Alright, next guy here, uncontroversial opinion here that our boy Armageddon Knight's coming back to 3. They just raised him up to 2. My boys in chat were telling me about Dark Grepher, legalize Dark Grepher, bring him up. I actually think Dark Grepher is insane. That card is a lot stronger than Armageddon Knight. I don't foresee that one coming back to multiples anytime soon. But the Heavy Strom, I think, lands here in the limited category. Just in the same way we saw Change of Heart walked off, we're going to see Heavy Strom walked off, alright? This is no big deal here, everybody. We got Harpies, we've got plenty of other spell and trap removal, and there isn't much of a concern about blowing up your own spells and traps. It's not going to generate you an obscene amount of advantage like it did back in the peak of Pendulum. It's a completely different game now. You can legalize this card. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. What, are we going to pop our own sacrifice? Is that going to make that big of a difference? Absolutely freaking not. Oh, my girl, you know who she is. You know who she is. And listen, I know Drytron's got a brand new card coming out in the near future. Do we think that they may very well legalize Eva to bring out some support for Drytron? Or maybe some indirect support for fairy decks of all sorts of kinds? I'm actually, so I took this one out here, and of course, everyone, Drykage, I want to say legalize Eva all day, every day. I want to see it happen. I don't think they're going to do it because they want to incentivize Drytron to be played in a different way. They actually want to see the deck played with the brand new support cards, and we actually would probably prefer not to play it that way if they brought Eva back. So, put that card on this list right now to tell you why I don't think that they are going to bring Eva back this ban list. As much as that disappoints me, I think that's just the truth. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, though. I'd love to hear why. Alright, the Dragon Rulers. We saw the OCG do this, and I think that Konami here in the US may follow suit immediately and bring them back to 2. Walk them off a little bit faster to keep up pace with the OCG. We just got our last Dragon Ruler back on our previous ban list, and I think now is the time. Might as well. They just printed out the rank 7 that goes along with the archetype. Let's legalize the Dragon Rulers up to 2 copies per deck. And hey, that's even a technical boost to Tenpai if there are those ballsy Tenpai players that want to go out there, shake things up with the mighty Dragon Rulers, and you will be horrified to see what the deck will do when combined with Kashtira. I think that if they're at more than 1 per copy and you combine them with Kashtira and the baby dragons, you're going to see some serious shit. Alright, moving on, we got Beatrice here. Eventually, they're going to be taking Beatrice out back to put her down. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think we got to see the Fiendsmiths come out first before we see anything happen to this card. So this card's just going to stay at 1. It's going to stay where it's been. No big changes there. And then we got Pot of Prosperity. This one was brought to my attention by popular request. We already know Konami made their mint off of this card in Rarity Collection 1. They could take it a step even further beyond and throw it in a structure deck, try and incentivize it that way, but I don't know. Listen, do I think this card needs to go to 1? Eventually, yes. Do I think this next list is going to be the one to do it? I'm not sure, but I do think that eventually Pot of Prosperity is going to end up at being 1 copy per deck. I'm going to make that prediction now, out in advance. You know, shout out Brahim Yokman. I think you guys are right. I think most people are in agreement that this is a hit that will take place someday. Just might not be this next list, but it's going to happen eventually. The final item that I've got on the agenda to speak about tonight is That Grass Looks Greener, That G, the legendary mill card that changes how deck building is done. I love the Grass Looks Greener. Don't you think they want to incentivize these Lightsworn cards that they just printed? Or maybe the Infernoid cards they just printed? The OCG's got grass, and they're not stressing it. At least I think they still have grass. Let's bring that joint on back here, and let's transform how some decks are built and directly incentivize some cards that were just reprinted and that just received new support. I think this one goes without saying. It's a pretty safe prediction. Could I be wrong? Of course. But I think this is a pretty safe bet. Alright, everybody, that brings the ban list prediction to a close. How did I do? You let me know in the comments section down below. And last time I made a promise we would do a Dragon Ruler deck profile if my prediction ended up being true and we got our last ruler back. This time I'm going to make a similar prediction. If we see the Dragon Rulers move up to 2, I'm going to put together a brand new Dragon Ruler list and I'm going to take it to a tournament. That's right, double duty with that list. So if you want to see that happen, let me know in the comments section down below and let's root for these guys to come back to 2 ASAP. Alright, everybody, that's everything I got for y'all today. LoganJYA signing off. Have a great day, and we'll see you beautiful people later. Peace.